What is good, ladies and gentlemen? It's Moonskii coming at you with a extra dimensional cardless review. I want to go through these cards and let you guys know which cards are worth it and what cards aren't worth it. I don't want to do a tier list. I'm just gonna do a nice and simple, clean way of doing this. I'm gonna tell you what cards are fire. I'm gonna tell you which cards are solid, and I'm gonna tell you what cards are boof. All right, 3 categories: fire, solid, and boof. All right, we'll sort out each of these cards in these categories as we go through this. We're gonna keep it nice and simple. The fire ones are the ones that are pretty much gonna be mandatory. You want to shoot for these cards at the utmost urgency throughout this card list. Solid cards is not as priority as fire, but you can do some fun things with them in other decks. Maybe something quirky, you know, maybe it might hold over a deck, maybe like a secondary Pokemon or an item card. We'll see. And boof is just a fodder. Don't waste your time. I don't know why DNA even added this to the card list. It's something that they probably wanted to do to fill out the pack. It's fodder, it's trash, it's boof. All right, so without the way, let's not waste any time. Let's hop into these card lists. First card we have is Petilil. This is our second iteration of Petilil in Pokemon Pocket. I think the other version is like 10 damage and it heals from itself. I think this Petilil in Extradimensional Crisis is the better Petilil. I think if you're planning on running Lilligant Petilil card in any deck, this is the version you go for. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into a solid just because it is a vast improvement over the last one. Next card is Lilligant, 110 HP, 2 energies, 1 grass, 1 colorless for 60 damage. I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into the boof category. I'm gonna be honest, I think there's better grass Pokemon that could do more damage for the 2 energies that this will require. There is Vespiquen that does 70 damage, but not only that, but I think this Lilligant is probably gonna be overshadowed and outshined by the previous Lilligant that does 10 less damage, but has the added benefit of ramping onto your bench. So I think this Lilligant, while it is solid, I think it is going to be outshined by other Pokemon. Therefore, if you're not going to be decent and you're not going to be great, you might as well be boof. Home in the boof category. Speaking of boof, our next character we got is Rowlet, 60 HP, Fury attack, 10 HP, flip your coins. I'm gonna be honest, this card does not hold a candle to the other one that snipes. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into the boof category. No discussion, no explanation needed. Throw it in there. Our next card is Dartrix in the line. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this Dartrix into the solid one. This is now a improvement from the previous Dartrix that we just received. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this straight into solid. Skill dive, 20 damage on your opponent's Pokemon. I like that. It's 80 HP. I like this Dartrix. Solid it is. Next up, we have Decidueye, baby Decidueye. I'm gonna go ahead and just say that this Decidueye, although it's not EX like its bigger counterpart, I think this Decidueye is still a threat. 2 grass energies, 70 damage on any Pokemon. I think this is going to be great for sniping out Oricorios, sniping out Shaymins, sniping out Pachirisus on the bench, sniping out, you know, someone throws out a Riolu onto the bench, try to get that Lucario going. I think this Decidueye can put a stop to a lot of this, especially if you put the Rowlet turn 1, rare candy, next turn with the next Decidueye with another grass energy, you snipe it for 70 on just about any basic to baby poke on the field. This Decidueye is great. I'm gonna go ahead and actually put this into the fire category. This is gonna be a great bench sniper and really good disruptor when your opponent starts getting set up. Up next, we got Buzzwole EX, 140 HP. We've seen this Pokemon in the trailer for Extradimensional Crisis. 2 colorless for 30 damage for punch. Really good if you want to throw this in any other deck, even though I'm not sure why you would just throw this in any deck rather than grass. Then we got Big Beat, 2 grass, 1 colorless, 120. Now you can't use this attack next turn, but if I might jump the gun, let's talk about all the things that Buzzwole can benefit from. That actually might make me bump this up from a solid to a fire, but I think right now I'm going to leave it at a solid. Here's the deal. Buzzwole, off rip, he benefits from Celesteela. Celesteela has an ability that allows it to take any Ultra Beast from the bench and bring it into the active. Now, if you take like an Ultra Beast like Pheromosa, who has a pretty light retreat cost, and you have an EX speed or you have an energy already on Pheromosa, you can bring Pheromosa in, retreat back, hit it again with Buzzwole. So Buzzwole is just doing 120. It might take a little setup and a little workaround, but it is doable to work around that. You can't use that big beat stipulation. So I think that works out pretty well. Not only that, but there are some item cards that Buzzwole can take advantage of during this new pack line. Buzzwole also takes advantage of the Beastite, which allows Ultra Beast that its tool card is attached to get 10 extra damage for the points accumulated. Now, of course, it only really matters about the first 2 points because they get all 3, the game's over, so it doesn't really matter. So the max amount of damage Buzzwole could potentially do off rip with this card is 140, which is pretty good, just for those 3 energies right there. Not only that, but Buzzwole also benefits from Is Beast Wall, which means that Buzzwole can take a reduction in damage early on in game while it gets set up with its Beastite and start doing that damage. So not only does it benefit from good damage, but also some decent defense. With this being said, there's a lot of different things that kind of play into Buzzwole's favor. I'm still going to leave it into solid. I do feel like it is a workaround to actually get this card effective on the field. It might just take a little more effort. You know, it could be a little cute with it, but it has little perks here and there. But I'm gonna leave this in solid. It's a solid card, nothing to complain about. It's decent. Now our next card up, we have Pheromosa, 70 HP, 1 grass energy, 22-1 of your bench. I think this is a solid card as well. Great grass sniper. I know we have a lot of grass snipers already with the whole Decidueye line now, and now we have Pheromosa. So this is really good, especially when we start dealing with cards like Decidueye EX. We can kind of have that Pheromosa on the bench, snipe out a Pokemon, retreat back as a very easy retreat, swap back into Decidueye, and now you're hitting it for 100 on the bench because of that Pheromosa pickings. I like this. Throw that Pheromosa right into the solid line. Next up, we have Kartana. I think Kartana is a solid card, 60 HP, 40 damage for 1 grass energy. Now, I don't think this is going to be a big attacker. If anything, this is going to be a good lead Pokemon. 1 energy just to get it going while you worry about the bench or however you're setting up. But I feel like Kartana is one of those cards that you can kind of just throw and just hold off on the line, you know, maybe quick, you know, 80 damage between, you know, 2 or 3 turns while you set up your bench. I think it's a solid card. Hold the line. Up next, we got Blacephalon. I think Blacephalon goes into the solid right here. Now, while we talk about Kartana, which seems to be a early game start, I think Blacephalon is a late game sweeper. If anything, probably be the big final bang for an attack. I feel like Blacephalon with 100 HP, 3 energies, beat Punk 130, it's gonna take advantage of a card we have not talked about, which other beast Pokemon will take advantage of, and that is Lusamine, which is going to help out this card immensely when it comes to late game attacking. I feel like this card will follow up whatever card that comes before it, you know, especially if it's coming late game, your opponent maybe have taken at least a point or 2, and you could use your Lusamine to ramp up this Blacephalon, and now you have those 2 extra energies for free. It really care what you throw on after because you have those requirements if you have your fire energies in order. But not only that, you have the beast stat, like I said before, so now you're probably hitting maybe 140, 150 with your Blacephalon off rip, which is insane. So I think Blacephalon could be doing some big damage, especially if it's hitting for that 140, 150. That's knocking out most of the tanky mid-range EX Pokemon. You really need to you know, do anything else, you know, like GG. Up next, we have Mantine, 90 HP, 1 water, 1 colorless, 50 damage. I think this card is Boof. Up next, we have Carvanha, 60 HP, 1 energy, water, 20 damage. I think this card is solid, early damage. Up next, we have Sharpedo, 90 HP, 2 energies, 1 water, 1 colorless, crunch, 50 damage, flip a coin, remove an energy. I think this is a solid card. You know, I think Sharpedos are typically in TCG a very fast, rapid attacker, which that kind of falls in line with Carvanha and Sharpedo. But I also like the ability, the chance to discard energies. I think this could be a really good disruptor, especially if you get this going early game. I think it's solid. I think it's solid, especially for water Pokemon. Up next, we have Shinx. Now, I think we have previous Shinx in the past that had the hide attack, which pretty much flip a coin, makes you immune for your next attack. This one's an attacker, so if you really want to have a Shinx that's able to, you know, early game do some damage while you get your Lux Ray set up, I think this is a solid Shinx. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in a solid. I think this one is might be a little better than the previous Shinx, even though the full art of the other Shinx is beautiful, magnificent. I think this Shinx is the better Shinx right here. Up next, we have Luxio. This Luxio is literally better than the other Luxio. Throw it in a solid. The other Luxio is now irrelevant. Moving on. Up next, we have Luxray with Intimidating Fang, which is a very good ability, allowing it to take negative 20 damage, which means going up against fighting Pokemon won't hurt as much, pretty much negating the weakness it has. 130 HP is pretty good. 3 energies, 90 damage in total, 2 lightning, 1 colorless. I think honestly Luxray is going to be a solid, I think both of them are solid ones. 90 damage, hitting 90 for both, especially with his extra survivability with Intimidating Fang will be great. Hitting for 180 in 2 turns, I like that. Up next, we have Blitzel, 60 HP, 2 Thunder Energies for 40 damage. This card is Boof, don't waste your time. Up next, we have Zebstrika, 90 HP, 2 lightning energies for 70 damage. It's still Boof, still don't waste your time. Next up, we have Emolga, 70 HP, 1 lightning energy, 30 damage. Boof. Up next, we have Tapu Koko, 130 HP, 1 lightning energy for Plasma Hurricane, 20 damage. I like this, especially we talk about the electrical cord. It'll ramp up those 2 lightning energies for free on it by turn 1 when it starts getting going. That means when Tapu Koko is knocked out, those 2 lightning energies can benefit anything else that it chooses to benefit. I like that. But Mach Bolt, 90 damage. I love that damage. I think 90 is really good. At least when it comes to a basic, yeah, that's really good. The ramp, along with the decent damage, also with the electric cord, makes Tapu Koko solid card. Up next, we have Xurkitree, 100 HP, 3 energies, 1 lightning, 2 colorless, 60 damage. Pokemon's now confused. I don't give a fuck if you use Lusamine to even ramp this card up. This shit is Boof. Up next, we have Zeraora, 90 HP, 2 lightning energies for Lightning Claw, does 50 damage. I think this card is an amazing card with this ability, Thunderclap Flash. And it says at the end of your first turn, take a lightning energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. First things first, this card ramps onto itself even if you go first. So that means turn 2 by default, you're already attacking for 50 damage. I think this card is amazing, gets the leg up, especially if you attach electrical cord to it. I think, honestly, this card is fire. Great lead, great start for any Thunder Pokemon deck. Yeah, this card is a certified lock-in for the fire category. Let's go ahead and throw this whole Clefable line into the Boof category. It's not worth it. I'm not gonna explain it, just know.
She was scary. Yeah.
We have Phantom, 70 HP, 2 energies, Psychic and Colorless for Spooky Shot for 30. Phantom is Boof, and while we're at it, we're gonna go ahead and roll over to the Trevenant with 120 HP for 3 energies, 1 Psychic and 2 Colorless. Rack down. Yeah, we're gonna rack this down to the Boof category as well. Throw both of these trees into the wood chipper.
You are not a tree, you can move.
That's right, that's right.
Let's put the Shiinotic line into the solid category because Shiinotic, I think this ability of Illuminate honestly carries this whole line right here. This is going to go great for just about any deck, especially when you're trying to search out, you know, your stage 2s, if you have your rare candy and everything already set up already. This is great. Also, this is going to be really good for fossil decks, especially if you have your fossils down packed. Your Illuminate can help find you those other variations of those cards, so no longer you have to worry about things like that. I think this is a solid card. Throw the whole line into solid. Up next, we have Meditite, 60 HP, trip over, 1 fighting energy, flip a coin, if heads, 20 more damage, so it can do either 10 or 30 damage. I think, honestly, this is a solid card. I think a great lead card to start off in any fighting deck. I think Meditite is pretty solid. And I also think Medicham is also pretty solid for 90 HP, high jump cake for 50. Like I said, still 1 fighting energy, really good lead for any Pokemon. You can start for your Meditite, do anywhere from 1 to 30, and then you could do 80 damage in the course of 2 turns. I like that just for a starter Pokemon. Not to mention if you have a Riolu coming through in the back, now you're starting to hit a little harder. That's a great card to just have on the front lines while you're setting up your bench for whatever you want to do for your fighting deck. I think it's solid. Up next, we have the Claydol line. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Claydol line into the solid. Heal block is amazing, just to screw over any Pokemon that want to take advantage of Pokemon Center Lady, Erica's, Irida's, Ilion, like it just Lilies, just mess them all up. I like that heal denial, even as well as abilities. This is a really good card. Throw the whole Claydol line into the solid. Great card. Next up, we have Rockruff, 60 HP, 2 energies, Rock Throw 40, 1 fighting, 1 colorless. I think this card is Boof. There's a better Rockruff out here. Don't waste your time. Next up, we have Lycanroc EX, 150 HP, 2 fighting, 1 colorless, Lycanfang, 130, and discard a fighting energy from this Pokemon. Honestly, I think this is a solid card right here. Big damage, good HP, cape makes it to 170, great survivability. Yeah, I think this is a decent solid card right here. Really solid. Up next, we have Passimian, which kind of works like Passimian in Pokemon TCG Live with a very simple mechanic called Let's Throw. 40 more damage if Passimian is on your bench. So you want to have your other copy of Passimian on the bench, so you're hitting for 80. That's pretty solid. I think this is a better Passimian than Passimian EX. Yeah, this is a decent card right here. Up next, we have the Palossand line. Let's just throw this whole line into the Boof. I'm not even gonna explain it. It's Boof. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Alolan Persian line into the solid with the fake out. 50 damage, 1 dark, 1 colorless. Flip a coin. Heads, your Pokemon is now paralyzed. I think this is a really good start and lead because not only is Alolan Persian valuable, but I also think this Alolan Meowth is really good as well with the metal to discard a random Pokemon tool card from your opponent's hand. It doesn't have to be on the field. You can just in the hand and it's gone. That's really good. Mess up a lot of Skarmories and Pachirisus out here. Yeah, I like this. Both of this line. Throw this whole line into solid. The whole Crocodile line, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this card ability alone moves this whole line into the solid. I think Crocodile's Poaching Fangs for 90 damage, 2 dark, 1 colorless, flip 3 coins. For each head, choose a random card from your opponent's hand and reveal it and shuffles it into your deck. I think it's a really good disruption card. I think that this would be great for the people that like to scheme and screw people over for some fun creative decks. I'm throwing Crocodile and its whole line into the solid. I like what I'm seeing. Next card is the Nihilego. More poison alone is just going to throw this card straight into the fire category. I think this card is going to find itself not just in Ultra Beast decks, but I think this card is going to find itself in just about any type of poison archetype deck. I can see this into Toxicroak decks. I can see this into the Paladin, Quagsire decks. This card is going to find 2 copies of this card immediately. If you have to wonder pick it, you have to trade it. If you got to steal somebody's account, get 2 versions of this card immediately. Fire. Up next, we have Guzzlord EX, 170 HP. That's pretty tanky, especially with a cape. Pretty tanky, 190, Grindcore, double colorless, 30 damage, but it also has a chance of discarding energies. That is a free Team Rocket. I think this is really good. I think its Tyrannical Hole is a bit of a stretch to get to, but if you're kind of just holding it over with Grindcore, I think this is a really good tanky Pokemon to kind of just start off and lead with. Next card we got is Poipole, 60 HP, 2-step, flip a coin 2 times. Max damage can do is 40 damage for that 1 dark energy. I think it's solid. Then we got Naganadel, 100 HP, 1 dark energy as well. Electro House, 40 damage. Your opponent is now poisoned for that 40 damage. I think this is going to go well with that Nihilego that I mentioned before when it comes to poison damage. You throw 2 Nihilegos on the bench while it's doing 40 damage with Naganadel, and not only that, it's going to be doing 60 damage by the end of the turn. Oh my goodness, yeah. I'm assuming they stack, so that's 20 poison, 40 damage for the Electro House, and then you're just dealing, yeah, that's, ooh, yeah, Naganadel, solid. Up next into the Steel category, we got a Alolan Diglett, 6 HP, nothing to headbutt, 40 damage, flip a coin. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into the Boof category. I think there is a better Diglett to at least start off with. I think it's the one that you don't have to flip a coin for. I think if you want to end up flipping a coin, you want to save it for the next variation of it, and that would be the Alolan Dugtrio. which is 130 damage, steel and colorless, triple headbutt, flip 3 coins, 60 damage for each heads. I'm gonna be honest, throw this card into the trash can as well. This card is also Boof. I think Serena does this card better than this card. Up next, we have Aaron, 70 HP, 2 energy, steel, and colorless, 40 damage. This doesn't seem like a card you want to start off with onto a match. You want to have this onto the back lines, maybe getting ramped up by a Dialga. With 70 HP, it's nothing to scoff at. I like that. Retreat card, kind of heavy, kind of thick. But next up, we have Leron for 3 energies, lunge out, 60 damage, 100 HP, way more tanky, and look at that retreat cost going up there. You know it's about to hit that 4 by the time we get to Aggron, 160 HP, Giga Impact. This might be the heaviest hitting steel Pokemon we have to date. 160, can't do his attack next turn. You're gonna have to rely on some lilies because this card is gonna take a beating in that active. But this is a heavy hitter for sure. That 4 retreat cost makes it really hard to just leave the active unless you do something with like Celesteela to like bring in an Ultra Beast to kind of like swap it out and then bring it back in. Maybe you do something with that. I think this card might be solid. Throw the whole line into solid. All right, moving on. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Ferrothorn line into the Boof category. I think this card literally is just a worse version of what Druddigon does. I don't think you need to go through 2 stages just to get to an ability that Druddigon just has as a basic off rip for 10 extra damage. I just, yeah, this is Boof. Up next, we have Stack Attacker. We have 110 HP, 2 energies, Brass Rock, 40 HP. I think this is going to be a really good lead. I think this card is on the precipice of solid to Boof. I think there might be better cards to start off and lead with if you're trying to hold the line. But if you're talking about like basic Ultra Beast, I think this is a solid card. I'm throwing it solid. I'm leaning more solid now. I think during the trailer, I said this card was Boof. But I'm gonna bump it up. I think it has its uses. I'm gonna throw it in solid. All right, up next, we have the whole Stoutland line for 140 HP, Guard Dog Visage. As long as this Pokemon is an active spot, attacks used by your opponent's active Pokemon cost 1 more energy. I like that. This is really good. Buy you an extra turn from not getting attacked, but not only that, it has 2 energies itself that's required for Sharp Fang, which is good because you can go from Lillipup to Stoutland in 2 turns and have 2 energies to attack for 70, while your enemy is trying to struggle to get energies on its active to even attack back to you. I'm gonna throw this into solid. I like this. Up next, we have the whole Beware line, 120 for 3 colorless. We have Superpower Hug, flip 2 coins. If both of them are heads, your opponent is knocked out. I'm gonna throw this into the solid just because of the gimmick. This is for the creatives out here. This is for the riskers, the habitual coin flippers. This is for people that like to live life on the edge. This one is for you. Beware goes into the solid. All right, next up we have Orangul for 3 colorless energies for 70. No. Next line we have is a Civili line, 110 HP for Brave Buddies. Does 50 damage, but it can do 50 more if you play a supporter card. I don't think it's too hard to find a supporter card to throw out every turn when you have this card out. Yeah, this is a solid card. You could be hitting for 200, 300 in the course of 3 turns. This is a solid card right here. Up next, we have Celesteela. This is a fire card. You're going to need this card, especially if you're running any type of Ultra Beast deck. This card is going to be crucial, especially when it comes to just getting your Ultra Beast into the active if need be, especially if they're pretty hungry on the retreat cost. This card is also very retreat heavy itself. And then Moonbathon is an ability that you hope that you never have to use in a match, but its ability, all the more worth it. Really good. Up next, we have Beastwall. We have talked about it previously, but it provides 20 defense for all of your Ultra Beast Pokemon. It is an item card, not a tool card, which means you can sparingly throw it out, and you can potentially stack it up for -40 if you so choose to. That is insane, especially if you want to run something like a Stack Attacker. Oh, yeah, now Stack Attacker don't look too bad. And then if you want to throw out an Adaman, where you get a -20 damage reduction from Steel Pokemon, yeah, that, 60 damage reduction potentially, yeah, that's insane. That is fucking insane. Yeah. Our next card is Repel. switch out your opponent's active basic Pokemon to the bench. Your opponent gets to choose. Okay, so this card does exist in Pokemon TCG, but it only is active Pokemon. It doesn't specify basic. So this card is a little bit more toned down in pocket. But I think this card still goes into the fire just for the fact that it's able to disrupt a lot of decks. Like you have like your Darkrai Giratinas, you might have your Giratina charging up something in the back while you're, doing some bullshit. You can always repel that out. Or you can see that Cosmog in the back, you know it's ready for that stupid ass rare candy, and it needs a couple more energies to get going. You can repel it out. Now it's in the active. Now they probably gotta waste some time doing some bullshit. Like you can throw this to kind of do a little disruption. I like this card right here. Definitely fire. Up next we have Electrical Cord. I'm throwing this straight into the fire category right here. Make sure you get yourself 2 copies of this immediately for any Thunder deck. If the Thunder Pokemon this card is attached to and the active is knocked out by the damage of an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, move 2 lightning energies from that Pokemon and attach it 1 energy to 2 bench Pokemon. Up next we have the Beast type Pokemon tool card. Attacks used by the Ultra Beast this card is attached to do 10 more damage for each point that you have gotten. So the more points you're along, the more damage you do. This is a really good card for any Ultra Beast deck. You can go ahead and throw this straight into the solid. Next up, we have Gladion. Put 1 random type null or Civili from your deck into your hand. I like this. I like this a lot because it works well with Civili. If you have a Civili in your active and you're setting up another type null in the back lines, you play that Gladion. So not only are you doing 100 damage this turn, but you're also setting up your potential next Civili for next turn. So getting those Gladions out there, that's just getting more 100 damage you could potentially do with Civilis. I like this. It's not only a search card, but it's also a boosting of damage card for your Civili. So I like this. It's a really solid card right here. Up next, we have the Looker card. Your opponent reveals your supporter cards in their deck. I think this is Boof. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like this card might have its uses early on in a meta, but I feel like maybe week 2 or 3, nobody's using the Looker because you kind of know what to expect from every deck. You know that certain decks are going to run what supporter cards. I feel like you don't really need a card to tell you something you already know after a while, so I feel it's a very situational card, maybe a little bit more of a training wheel supporter card to have. It's like, okay, what do typical Quagsire decks run? Last but not least, we have Lusamine. You can use this card if your opponent has gotten at least 1 point. Choose one of your Ultra Beasts and attach 2 random energies from your discard pile to that Pokemon. This card is solid. Will be in just about every Ultra Beast deck to get them ramped up. This is really good. Overall, if you look at Extradimensional Crisis on a whole on card list, I might just throw the whole pack into the solid. If anything, it might be even teetering on Boof. It's a very niche deck if you want to run about the Ultra Beast, but I felt this whole Ultra Beast gimmick has like a couple of cards that kind of gets it going, but I also feel like there's only like a couple of handful of fire cards that you really need out of this pack list. Just get the fire cards and then get whatever you like out of the solid, and then just wait and save all your hourglasses for the next pack. This pack may not be worth it. Honestly, if you still haven't got all your Incineroars and Solgalios like me, I would say save all your hourglasses and prior towards that before you start opening up anything on this pack right here. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is everything for this video right here. Just a card list breakdown of all the cards that I think you should get and avoid. There's nothing left on this video. This is Moonskii signing off. Would you kindly get the fuck off my channel?